It's Tom Stoukas coming to you from Sarnia, Ontario, October 15th. Hopefully everybody's having a nice night. I woke up today and I had a headache, and I still have a headache. I hope I'm not coming down with COVID or anything. I didn't get my vaccine or my booster, so I'm screwed if I get it. But hopefully it's just a headache. You know when you get a headache and then you either... It's like the start of like a really bad cold or flu or whatever, or it's just or it's just a headache and it goes away, but it's been hasn't gone away. So, speaking of headaches, Canada is turning into a third world shithole. I see it everywhere I go. I don't even want to leave the house now. I go to McDonald's and it's like a jungle in there. So, we already know it's turning into a third world shithole. The big story today was Stellantis, a big auto manufacturer. I don't know if is that Chrysler now? They're announced a big move to invest $13 billion in the U.S. instead of Brampton, where they have a plant. So they're going to, I think, Illinois. And what do? They do like Jeep there in Brampton. I don't know. So it's similar, follows a similar move by GM, which said they're shifting production, I think, to Indiana from Oshawa. So yeah, Doug Ford, great job protecting Ontario, Doug Ford. And Mark Carney, they both suck. But I said this during the election. I said, Donald Trump wants to shut down the Ontario auto industry. He would love to, but if we had competent leaders, we might be able to salvage something, but we don't have competent leaders. And this, and then plus all the billions they spent on the battery subsidies for these companies. We're just managed by dummies, like incompetent dummies. So that's the big story. It's like a trend. And they said, it's too, Doug Ford was like, it's too integrated, the auto industry, they can't shut down. And it's like, well, over time, like they might not be able to do it overnight, but what we're seeing here is a bit by bit shutdown. And, it's not just Trump's fault. When you make your country a third world shithole and you make it horrible place to invest, it's going to make that decision all that much easier for these companies. Anyway, let's just go to it. Let's get to it. I'm still suspended off Facebook, off Twitter, X or whatever. So we're going to go onto the Facebook page. Yeah, Canada needs to be run properly. It's horrible. All right. Basically, we're screwed at the provincial level with Doug Ford, and we're screwed at the federal level with the Liberals. Look at this story here. This is a Doug Ford measure, just nothing but failure from this guy. So basically he's saying, I don't know if this is true, he's saying, how you're seeing all the videos of people ripping off liquor store or walking out of like Home Depot without paying. He's trying to say, he told a Empire Club, where did he say? He told an audience at the Empire Club in Toronto that bail needs, he told them a story about he ditched his police detail so he can go to Home Depot and buy stuff for his cottage. And while he was there was two people. There was a guy stealing, and the security was following him out to the parking lot, but they didn't. They called it off because they were told to not do anything. And Doug Ford followed him out, and threatened him to give the stuff up, or else he'd beat him up, kick his ass. And all this people are saying, "Oh, Doug Ford should be charged." I'm like, do you really think that happened? Do you think Doug Ford is going to be he's going to risk dying, giving up his beautiful, corrupt life to stop a shoplifter at Home Depot and conveniently without his police detail when it happened? I think it's a bullshit story. He had too many beers and maybe he thinks it happened. I don't know. Do you think it happened? I don't think I think he's just saying anything to sound like he's gonna fix the problems of Ontario. I think he thinks we're stupid. You know, this is the same dude who's been trash talking Trump for months, and all it's gotten was factories, plants moving down south. Here's another thing I saw today. This is how Canada's screwed here. So, yeah, we got just all sorts of issues here with home. People can't afford to live. They can't see a doctor. They're getting flooded with immigrants. So what does our government do? Let's send more money to Ukraine because they want to fight a war with Russia, our government. So another 500 million to Ukraine. So it's 4 million visits to food bank, and we have money for everyone else except for Canadians. Yes, and it's like what 22 billion have already sent to Ukraine. Not money's been stolen or burnt in flames. Let's see what this guy's saying. Hold on.
Important moment. So we believe one of the first 3 or 4 countries.
Ukraine.
I'm looking forward to hearing what the United States has to say about further provision of equipment and sustainment of equipment in Ukraine. Canada was pleased to purchase one of the $500 million packages under the Pearl Initiative to provide the equipment that Ukraine obviously and desperately needs. So we'll see what the Americans have to say about that today.
The Pearl is to make a difference for Ukraine. Can you say?
Again?
How will this Pearl Initiative make a difference for Ukraine?
It's a coherent approach to equipment that's required and available immediately. A list which is devised by the Ukrainians in conjunction with the Americans. It's a list of material which is available now.
Anyway, I don't want to listen to this guy anymore. But, yeah, they care more about globalist warmongers getting their money to keep fighting than they do about Canada. Fuck, traitors, man. Traitors. Chrystia Freeland's probably there scooping all sorts of kickbacks. All right. Here we are talking about Doug Ford. Horrible, horrible premier. Just as bad as the Liberals, really. Not only is he losing jobs and trash talking Trump and basically destroying Ontario's auto sector, pouring out bottles of Crown Royal and making up stupid stories about Home Depot. But he's also doing this. Yeah, and I seen this with my own eyes. Ontario spends nearly $500 million to push DEI and race ideology in schools. Under Premier Doug Ford's watch, Ontario has quietly poured nearly $500 million into reshaping its schools around a DEI agenda and pushing race-based ideology onto students. So yeah, not only is he destroying the economy and he's helping flood Ontario with third world migrants and turning us into a shithole, but he was pushing this commie BS in the schools. I just want to get my kids out of there. I'm like, first chance I get, don't ask me why, but it's just homeschooling is the way to go with these commies. I go to the kids' school in Sarnia here, my kids' school, and they probably hate me at the school, but every school, every class has a sticker, the trans stupid rainbow sticker, and they do this, the Every Child Matters commie orange shirt, whatever the hell that is. And I'm sure they're doing other stuff that would love to find out about. So But yeah, I'll do my own DEI training at home. But that's Doug Ford, eh? That's not the Liberals. That's Doug Ford and Bob Bailey. Because they're commie. They're probably compromised. I don't know what the hell. They're fake conservatives. Tell Bob Bailey, what's going on, Bob? They won't answer. Yeah. So yeah. Here's this on Stellantis. Canadian auto industry is done. This is what happens when a high tax, high regulations economy drives companies to seek a more welcoming business environment. Stellantis is moving Jeep production from Ontario to Illinois. 3,000 plus Canadian jobs gone. I don't know if that's... I don't know the actual job number. Let's just... Stellantis was proud to announce that this would be their biggest ever investment in the U.S. with a $13 billion rollout plan. Because Trump wants... He's told them, you better start building plants here or else you're going to have big tariffs. So let's trash talk Trump for 6 months and see where that gets us. Now, I'm not saying these jobs would stay if Ford was nicer to Trump, let's say. But guaranteed didn't help. The trash talking doesn't help. Plus, he's an idiot, Doug Ford, so. Okay, so yeah. You thought Brampton was a shithole now? Holy shit. Wait till this thing closes. Wait till Stellantis closes in Brampton and it'll be really a big shithole. It already is a shithole. What am I talking about? Let's see what this says.
Stellantis says it will shift production federal government to take action over a potential trade war threat to thousands of auto industry jobs. Stellantis says it will shift production from its Brampton, Ontario plant to Illinois. It's part of the automaker's new promise to invest more than $18 billion in the U.S., boosting production in that country by 50% and creating thousands of jobs for Americans. News of the production shift from Canada south of the border is hitting just over a week after Prime Minister Mark Carney's visit to the White House. That visit had U.S. President Donald Trump tell Carney that the U.S. and Canada were natural competitors for industries like the auto sector. And the next day, his trade czar, Howard Lutnick, reportedly warned a Toronto audience that Canada would always come second to the U.S. when it comes to the car industry. Marianne Demain is tracking the latest for us on this story, and she joins us now with more. So, Marianne,
all right, I don't want to listen to CBC anymore than I have to. So, yeah. Let's see what Doug Ford says. He needs to shut up. That's what he just runs his mouth off for months. He runs an unnecessary election saying he's going to protect Ontario, and all he does is trash talk Trump and act like a dummy, pouring out bottles, threatening companies. Yeah, that's not good for business. Let's see what he says here. Look at this guy.
Communities against that tyrants.
Listen to this guy.
My number one job is make sure we protect the people of Ontario. I need to protect the communities.
We don't want your protection
south of the border, which drives me absolutely nuts. And we'll always be there to protect the families and businesses who call our province home.
Did he just call him a tyrant?
Which drives me absolutely nuts. I need to protect the communities against that tyrant south of the border, which drives me absolutely nuts. And we'll always...
Okay, so this dummy just called him a tyrant. And that's... You think that's going to go over well? Like, and the same dummy, this fat dummy, Doug Ford, just spent $75 million to do ads in the States to try and get them over to our side. Which they're not going to work. We'll look at the ad. But now he's calling their leader a tyrant. So it's like basically that $75 million was already gone. But listen to this fat guy. He's like, is he drinking? Is this guy drinking? I think he's having a drinking problem. His brother had the crack problem. This guy has a drinking problem. And he's like, we're here to protect Ontario. You're destroying Ontario. How are you protecting Ontario? You're destroying it. Okay. See this one. This is Melanie Jolie. She's in charge of the industry file. She's the industry minister, so she's all furious about Stellantis making this announcement. But like, these guys are all dummies. You really, if you're relying on them to protect you, we got
Unifor yesterday. Well, let me be clear on Stellantis. I'm extremely disappointed about this decision, and not only am I disappointed, it's completely unacceptable. So we will fight for these jobs. We will fight for the jobs at Brampton. We'll fight for the jobs that were committed by Stellantis, and we'll fight for our auto sector. I've been in contact with Lana Payne, the head of Unifor, yesterday and today. I've been in contact with Flavia Volpe, who's an important voice in the
Trump's
sector.
shaking
We've
in
been
his
working
boots.
hand in glove also with the Ford government, and we're one strong
hand in
team
glove
Canada
with the Ford
together.
government.
And the company has commitments under different types of agreements with the government, including the fact that we provided support for the retooling of the very Brampton facility that right now is sitting idle. So
yeah.
we will make sure that we push the company and we hold them to account.
Okay, that's all I need to. So they gave these companies billions of dollars in credits or whatever for batteries, but this was before Trump won and started threatening them. But do you have any confidence in the way? Like, she's the industry minister. I have zero confidence. If I'm an auto worker, I'm looking for another job because I have zero confidence in this government. What did Carney say? This is Carney's response. Canada's government will always be there for auto workers. Together with the government of Ontario, we are working with the company to develop the right measures to protect Stellantis employees and create new opportunities for them in and around Brampton. Yeah. We've further made clear that we expect Stellantis to fulfill the undertakings they have made to the workers of Brampton. Today's decisions direct consequence of current U.S. tariffs and potential future U.S. trade actions. Okay. We're making strategic investments that will transform our economy from being overly reliant on our largest trade partner to being resilient to global shocks. Yeah. Anyway, we're screwed. We're so screwed. On November 4th, Canada's new government will table a budget that will catalyze generational investments to build the economy of the future while ensuring workers and industries can bridge to seize its opportunities. Yeah, we're screwed with these guys. That's the budget they're talking about. That's going to be a $100 billion deficit. So we got big problems. And it's a shame. I'm reading John McDonald, A. McDonald's biography, and it was like he worked really hard to build up Canada so it would be able to withstand so it wouldn't be weak and it wouldn't get absorbed by the U.S. And that's kind of his legacy. So he'd be rolling his grave right now seeing these guys destroy Canada, and it's going to make it easy pickings for the States. They'll just pick over the bones. And I obviously would like to avoid that. But with these clowns, Doug Ford, Mark Carney, hand in hand, they said it, hand in hand together. There's Tommy Robinson. This bugs me too, the Zionist shills in Canada and UK and the US. So what they do is, I'm against mass immigration. So like, I don't want millions of people coming from India. I don't want them coming from Africa. I don't want them coming from Middle East. You know, I want them to be prosperous in their own countries. But this guy will get you to hate only the Muslims because he works for the Zionist interests, and he'll say only the Muslims are the ones to worry about, but don't worry about the millions of Indians or the millions of Africans. So that's why I hate Zionist shills. So I just took your anti-immigrant movement and made it about radical Islam. Here's why. We're about to start a war with Muslims, and we need your support. It's the greatest threat to the West, which is Israel, is what they're talking about. Anti-immigrant, what are you, Hitler? So yeah, watch out for these Zionist shills. We want to deport everybody, not just Muslims. We want to deport everybody. Okay. And this is a interesting story. There was a story about this family from Nigeria, and there was a bunch of them, and they all got deportation orders. And I was shocked that they got deportation orders because I didn't think Canada deported anybody, but maybe they're going to start. That would be awesome. So, some good news. The asylum-claiming woman and her 9 children. How the fuck? 9. I think they came in through the States. Yeah, they probably came in down that road. They were deported Sunday, October 12th. That's 9 children, man. That's a lot of kids. From Nigeria. So I have a church here by my house that's Nigerian based, and they're bringing in people from Nigeria or from Africa, I don't know. Fort Erie family of 10 has been deported to Nigeria after their refugee claim was denied under the federal immigration law, despite widespread community support and last-minute appeals to halt their removal. I'm shocked that they got rid of. They actually deported them. It's a miracle. The family mother, Taiwo Faye, and her 9 children, aged 4 to 19, left Canada on Sunday after being ordered deported by King. I'm shocked still. I'm still shocked. Fort Erie Radio confirmed late Monday afternoon that local advocates had not yet received word of their safe arrival. We're waiting for an update from the family to confirm their safe arrival in Nigeria. So, yeah, I hope, make Nigeria great. Go for it. So we got to keep that momentum going. It's possible. They just showed it's possible to deport. Mass deport. They just did 10. We just got to up. Instead of 10, we got to do 1,000 at a time. Deport Doug Ford while we're at it. There he is again. So, yeah.
Went up yesterday or today, I'm not sure. But have you got any...
I'll talk to him on Thursday. But that guy, President Trump, he's a real piece of work. You know something? What my message to the Prime Minister when I meet him on Thursday...
So, do you think Doug Ford saying this stuff, and he's been saying this for months, attacking Trump personally. You're the leader of the biggest province of Canada, so you can't just... You're not just a guy bitching. Your word carries a bit of weight down, especially down south. Do you think all this time saying stuff like that, and if people buy it and think, oh, he's such a good leader, if they buy this routine, then I don't know, there's no hope for them either.
If you can't get a deal, let's start hitting him back. Let's start hitting the U.S. back hard.
Yeah.
All Trump does is continue. We're nice, play nice in the sandbox. And today's or yesterday's 10% on softwood lumber. After it was 35%, he increased it 10%. And then he all of a sudden, one day out of the blue, someone must have told him cabinet makers. And we should ship a lot of cabinets down there. And all of a sudden now there's a tariff there. I am sick and tired of sitting and rolling over. We need to fight back. Folks, we are an economic powerhouse.
We are.
We buy $356 billion of goods, Canada does, off the U.S. We're the #1 customer to the U.S. No one in the world buys more goods than what we do. We need to start hitting back and hitting back hard. That's the only thing this person understands. Sorry, I just get pumped up talking about this guy.
God.
He drives me absolutely crazy. He does. And we aren't going to roll over. I'm not going to let him roll over Ontario, I'll tell you that.
Oh,
This will be the last.
you're not going to let him roll over? He's not going to let him roll over Ontario. Come
Thank
on.
you.
Matt Kennedy here for CTV News.
Oh, my God.
Hi, Premier. I'm wondering, are you still committed to the billions, committed to the Stellantis EV deal in Windsor, given what the company has done in Brampton?
I'm not going to give him a penny because it was tied in to making sure Windsor and keep Brampton going. And we haven't given him a penny for Brampton yet. We gave him about $55 million out of the couple billion that the feds and I and the companies agreed. You know, it's disappointing. They said they're going to keep Brampton open. I had a conversation with the president of Stellantis yesterday. He said, well, we're going to postpone it for a year. We're going to find a new model. You know, I don't understand. They're investing $13 billion in the U.S. We're, you know, an auto manufacturing powerhouse here. They're going to transfer 1,500. The only good news, there's no good news, but the only good news is they're adding a third shift in Windsor, and they're going to try to transfer 1,500 people from Brampton down to Windsor. But we're competitive. We can produce the best vehicles anywhere in the entire world, right here in Ontario. So I'm going to keep pushing like they've never seen before.
I acknowledge that I'm on permanently ceded territory.
Oh, shoot. Yeah, we're screwed with the leadership like that, man. Oh, my God. Oh, man. Got a headache from this guy. Like, do you see this guy talking? Do you really have any faith like, he's destroyed Ontario already. Even before Trump got elected, Ontario was going to the shitter. But it's convenient for Doug Ford. He's going to blame everything on Trump. I wouldn't fall for that. Okay. This is horrible. Another piece of Canadian culture and high trust society destroyed by mass immigration as farm thefts skyrocket. And it is a total piece of Canadian culture. Local culture here too, because when I was little, my mom used to take us out and she would pick beans, the green beans or whatever the hell, strawberries, whatever. She liked doing it. A lot of people went out. It was a lot of families that went out. But now, apparently, the high trust society is like eroding. Remember, we were talking about the roadside stands getting robbed. Well, got robbed that one time. Well, this is more common, is where you go out and you pick your own stuff. So, and apparently, lots of thefts. And I already know he didn't say in this video who it was. The idea is wink, wink, we know who it is.
Customers have been walking
immigrants
straight to their cars with bags of
from
apples.
third world
So
countries.
sad. Watch
I'll
this.
say it.
Offering pick your own apples, the owner of Dixie Orchard says he's never seen this much theft.
Been a real issue actually this year. A lot of people are getting entitled
For apple picking.
thinking that they need to take more
Oh
for
my
whatever
God.
reason.
He says customers have been walking straight to their cars with bags of apples or pocketing the palms in their pants.
It's also small pumpkins and it's corn or whatever. They feel the need to take a souvenir maybe. I don't know what it is, but it's really hard to tell people you can't take that, and they just get really upset. And it's like
The people that steal, of course.
He's beefing up security, and personal
This is
bags
so
on the
sad.
car are banned. But even with that, he's not sure if the juice is worth a squeeze and may eliminate the activity altogether.
that's come across my mind several times. It's like, I'm getting up in age. I'm thinking, why do I have to put up with this?
The rise in theft goes beyond Dixie's trees. Kevin Vallier runs an advocacy group for Ontario farmers. He says members across the province are reporting similar experiences.
Things like people bringing in a wagon, and they've got small children, babies, and so there's blankets and diapers and stuff. But then they
Oh,
fill
wonder
the
who
wagon
that could
with
be.
apples and then cover the apples with all of the baby
Oh my
paraphernalia to
God.
smuggle them out. We had a farmer follow a visitor back into town and had them open their trunk, and it was full of apples that they didn't pay for.
Some farmers are considering raising prices for entry, adding cameras to their property, or stopping the pick-your-own offerings altogether.
Canada has fallen from a high trust society to a low trust one. And this is what's happening now. So many of these farms will not offer these picking services anymore. And many of them will increase the prices, which is going to make it more inaccessible for so many others. So all of this theft is impacting all of us. And honestly, shame on the families and the people that bring all of your family together and your children, and you're stealing all of the apples and the goods that you're going out there for. What a great example. What a great example you are being to your family and to your children. This is so sad. You're going to one of these apple pickings, pay for the apples that you take, pay for the corn that you take, pay for the pumpkins that you take. You do not own those things. You do not have a right to just take them away from these farmers. So pay. You obviously...
Yeah. So that's, little things like that. It's not a little thing to the farmer, but it's little things like that get destroyed when you turn into a third world country. You don't have that stuff in third world countries. No farmers, no picking your own stuff under third world country. I want to live in a first world country, not a third world country. Call me crazy, I know. Okay, next. I think this happened, was it today? One happened today, a smash and grab. Let's see this.
Yeah.
Look at this. This is very common in the GTA. Okay. But I was like, when's I go to the Lambton Mall here with the kids, and I see the jewelry stores there. There's a couple jewelry stores left. Maybe more. I think at least 2. But I was like, when's this going to happen in Sarnia? Is there going to be a smash and grab at the Lambton Mall? Probably just a matter of time. Just a matter of time. Before somebody probably makes a drive down from London, some thugs, does a quick smash and grab in Sarnia. But the thing is, I think they would only do it once in Sarnia, because after that, it would be like, you can only do it so many times. In Toronto, there's a few more of these that they can pick from. All right. Here's a television ad that they spent $75 million. So I'm assuming, obviously, $75 million is for the ad production plus the ad time on the various networks in the U.S. So $75 million is probably the total budget. And then you got the Mad Men ad agencies getting their 40% markup. Probably Doug's buddies. But so he does this commercial with Ronald Reagan doing a speech on free trade, and I was like, nobody's gonna know Ronald Reagan. Like, the only people who are gonna know him are boomers who are like old as fuck, and the younger people aren't gonna know. They not gonna care what Ronald Reagan says about free trade. But let's spend $75 million on it. It's a very boring commercial, and yeah. You're fighting Donald Trump, who's like super popular right now in the States. So yeah, I think that was a waste of $75 million. I'm sure a few of that $75 million went to Doug Ford's friends in like contracts and kickbacks.
When someone says, let's impose tariffs on foreign imports, it looks like they're doing the patriotic thing.
Very boring
protecting American products and jobs. And sometimes for a short while it works, but only for a short time. But over the long run, such trade barriers hurt every American worker and consumer. High tariffs inevitably lead to retaliation by foreign countries and the triggering of fierce trade wars. Then the worst happens. Markets shrink and collapse, businesses and industries shut down, and millions of people lose their jobs. Throughout the world, there's a growing realization that the way to prosperity for all nations is rejecting protectionist legislation and promoting fair and free competition.
Boring.
Jobs and growth are at stake.
Like, seriously, man, this is like the most boring commercial ever. Like Americans, they like the ras and papas. They're not going to listen to this stuff. Like, literally burn the 75 million. And also, you're trying to build this kind of... You're trying to do this PR initiative, but at the same time, you're trash talking their leader. So they're going to side with their leader. They're not going to side with you because you put a commercial. It's a very boring commercial. Like Reagan was like 40 years ago. Seriously, man. Nobody cares. Okay. No. Fat trader Doug Ford and Bob Bailey said vote for them in the unnecessarily early election that they called. They said so they could protect Ontario. All Ford did was trash talk Trump for 6 months. What a bunch of clowns. They are clowns. Bob Bailey, you're a clown. Doug Ford, clown. It's only going to get worse. Okay. Here, due to rising... Okay. What police describe as firearm discharges in Vaughan, Ontario, the city's pushing for Orwellian surveillance systems. Remember we were saying about Vaughan, how all the home invasions and robberies are extortion, and murders are going to Vaughan, which is a decent part of the GTA. And now they want to put video cameras for fighting crime. And this is just as... And Doug Ford's in favor of this. Doug Ford said, I'm going to get rid of the traffic cameras. The speed cameras. But now he's in favor of putting in police cameras, basically eyes everywhere. Because we let in a bunch of third world immigrants, criminals. So we let them in, destroy society, and then say, we got to put video cameras everywhere to protect us. It's like, well, you guys maybe shouldn't have imported all these criminals in the first place. Okay. The city's pushing for a really... If you don't think the mass immigration from low-trust societies wasn't part of the plan, you need your head examined. Canadians want re-immigration now.
That they can strategically place in areas
identified
as hotspots throughout Vaughan. This will be intelligence... Phil, the mayor of Vaughan, Stephen Del Duca, said today that he hopes that if a motion is passed at City Council, York Regional Police will have 10 new CCTV cameras that they can strategically place in areas identified as hotspots throughout Vaughan. This will be intelligence-led, there'll be data-driven, and at these locations, people can expect to see, if this motion goes through council, 10 new CCTV cameras that do two things. Number one, they act as a deterrent for those would-be criminals, and if there are criminals that decide to ignore the CCTV cameras, well, then it gives the police evidence that they can work with when they try to identify those who are responsible for committing such acts in our communities. Now, earlier on, we did hear from the mayor, and we heard from York Region's deputy police chief as well. And here's more from the two of them.
I don't want to listen to the mayor. Anyway, that's what they do. Just like the UK is full of cameras. So they basically flood your country with immigrants. The crime rates go up. They can't keep up with the crime, so they say, we got to bring in cameras. No, you got to deport. That's what you got to do. Instead of cameras, deport. I hate these people. Okay. So, Stellantis. We'll see how many more of those happen. So Doug Ford, he was pouring out Crown Royal for 190 jobs. What's he going to do now with the Stellantis and GM? And like, the guy's a clown. Nobody takes him seriously now. Nobody takes Ontario seriously. We're going to become Calistan. New Calistan. Okay. This is what UK calls cultural nationalism. Western culture is under threat from mass migration and a lack of integration by certain ethnic and cultural groups. So they're going after people against, I don't know, against immigration. Sorry. And then here, I'm going to end this soon because it's too depressing. We're hearing all about the food banks, you know, with Thanksgiving just last weekend, how the food banks are screwed. And Christmas, I'm sure they'll say the same. And then I was like, wonder why the food banks are running out of food. Because the third world immigrants, they come and they think the food bank's for them. And the people running the food banks were too nice to say, no, we don't give food to everybody, only the people in need. But again, that went back to the high trust society. Like, you only went if you actually needed it. You didn't abuse it just to get free stuff. But here's they are advertising it. I know this is an older video, but it's the same idea. It's still being done. Free food.
आज मैं आ गया हूँ यहाँ पे फ्री फूड इन कनाडा, क्योंकि कनाडा के अंदर आपको, अगर आप स्टूडेंट हो तो फ्री फूड आपको प्रोवाइड किया जाता है। तो मैंने कुछ दिन पहले रजिस्टर्ड किया था एज अ स्टूडेंट और उनका मेल आया था कि आप लेने आ जाओ। तो ये सारी चीजें मुझे उन लोगों ने दी है यहाँ पे फ्री फूड इन कनाडा में। सो मैं आपको इन डिटेल बताता हूँ कि इसके अंदर सब क्या क्या है। सो ये है 1 kg आटा, सो ये है 1 kg राइस, 1 किलो दाल, और ये 3 चाय का है, और ये 2 लाइफ बॉय सोप, और ये है सैम।
Quite the nice products.
फूड होगा, और ये हेयर वैक्स है, और ये भी ऑयल एंड शैम्पू टाइप है। ये मसूल की दाल है, और
Anyway,
ये है शुगर।
You get the picture. It's horrible. People need that, and then the people that actually need it are suffering. And then it also has a knock-on effect because people that would normally donate to a food bank are saying, like, screw this, I'm not supporting this. These guys, these leeches coming and getting all the food, I'm not going to support it. So it has a bad effect on the donation end of things. But we'll hear more about it for Christmas, how horrible the situation is. Okay, and then this is the final thing to show your government hates you. So we're advertising our free healthcare to all potential immigrants. So when you die waiting for surgery, you'll know why. So this is a lot of outrage about this post, and sometimes I think they don't care anymore. They don't even want to bother trying to hide it. So thinking about moving to Canada, did you know that Canada has public health care? Learn how it works, who can get it, and what services are covered. Get the details and helpful tips. Learn about healthcare in Canada. So this is on the immigration X account, but it's on their. I checked their websites. It's all on there. This is their website. Learn about healthcare in Canada. Canada's unique. We explain how Canada's healthcare system works and highlight some useful resources for newcomers. So, like, we can't even take care of our like, people can't even get a doctor. People are waiting for surgeries. And we're advertising to the world about free healthcare. Like, it's insane. It's insane. So the problems aren't hard to fix. Just stop doing stuff like this. Start deporting. And stop. There's so many little easy things to fix. But when you have commies, globalist commies trying to destroy it all, of course they're not going to fix anything. Okay. All right. I'll just end it with this. This is city of Brampton. This is Brampton. I take my kids by the water all the time in Sarnia. So I'm like, this is going to be Sarnia soon. I'll be keeping an eye. It seems all right yet in Sarnia, but this is Brampton. We got to keep Sarnia beautiful.
All kinds of shit. And if you look even closer, there's bottles just floating everywhere. Seriously, city of Brampton. People, residents, everybody, not from the politicians, but to the people in Brampton. Figure it out.
Figure it out. I figured it out. Anyway, that's all I'm going to talk about tonight. Hopefully this headache goes away. Yeah, so we'll be back tomorrow night, October 16th, to see if any other companies are going to move away from Ontario and see what else Doug Ford says comes out of his fat mouth. Yeah, I'm sure there'll be lots to talk about. So until then, have a nice night. We'll talk to you again.